Psycho-Cybernetics utilizes a mechanical perspective of your brain and body's activity to create a new system of thinking and behaving. The book was originally written by a plastic surgeon turned self-help author, Dr. Maxwell Maltz. This book is a cornerstone of the self-help genre and is chock full of big ideas that can empower you to create a bigger, happier, more successful life for yourself. Here's what you'll learn about in this book summary. How your self-image and your patterns of thinking impact everything you do. How to improve your life by changing your habits and your thoughts. And how to turn setbacks and failure into progress and success. Crucial quotes. Quote, "The science of cybernetics does not tell us that man is a machine, but that man has and uses a machine. Moreover, it tells us how that machine functions and how it can be used." Unquote. Quote, "Creative striving for a goal that is important to you as a result of your own deep-felt needs, aspirations, and talents, and not symbols which the Joneses expect you to display, brings happiness as well as success because you will be functioning as you were meant to function. Man is by nature a goal-striving being, and because man is built that way, he is not happy unless he is functioning as he was made to function, as a goal striver. Thus, true success and true happiness not only go together, but each enhances the other." Unquote. Quote, "Whatever your definition of happiness may be, you will experience happiness only as you experience more life. More living means, among other things, more accomplishment, the attainment of worthwhile goals, more love experienced and given, more health and enjoyment, more happiness for both yourself and others." Unquote. A tweetable summary for Psycho-Cybernetics is this: your self-image determines your self-worth. Now let's dive into the first big idea. Big idea number 1. Experience is important. Quote, "Human beings always act and feel and perform in accordance with what they imagine to be true about themselves and their environment." Unquote. Dr. Maltz begins with a preface describing a bit of the background behind his book. As a plastic surgeon, he saw example after example of patients who would have their outward appearance transformed via plastic surgery, but would not end up any happier as a result of having had their surgeries. In short, their outward appearance would change, but their internal feelings and attitudes would stay just the same. In his investigations, he discovered cybernetics, that is, the actions and requirements of machines in accomplishing tasks. This field of cybernetics was then applied to people, resulting in an application of how people achieve success or achieve failure. People's experiences are similar to a machine's programming. Both lead to certain outcomes, and both can be changed. As the field of psychology developed, it became clear that even in a controlled laboratory, people could use experiences imagined vividly and in detail to change outcomes in their lives. Psycho-Cybernetics is a very hands-on book with lots of different exercises and very powerful ones at that. And in this audiobook summary, we'll be going over some of the most powerful ones recommended by Dr. Maltz in the book. If you do want to take a deeper dive, it's recommended that you do get the entire book and practice all of the exercises to really make a massive change in your life. But again, in this audiobook summary, you will be getting a condensed version of the most popular, most powerful big ideas in his book. So let's dive into the next big idea. Big idea number 2, you can change your self-image and success mechanism. Quote, "Whether we realize it or not, each of us carries about with us a mental blueprint or picture of ourselves. It has been built up from our own beliefs about ourselves. But most of these beliefs about ourselves have unconsciously been formed from our past experiences, our successes and failures, our humiliations, our triumphs, and the way other people have reacted to us, especially in early childhood." Unquote. Although you're not conscious of it, your self-image has developed as a result of your past experiences. You tend to believe the self-image and live your life based on this belief of yourself. This explains how some people seem to always be able to generate success for themselves and others seem to always generate failures for themselves. Their subsequent experiences will support the self-image that they have of themselves. Many people's attempts at changing their self-image are external, as witnessed by Dr. Maltz in his plastic surgery practice. Some have tried positive thinking about the future without actually addressing their beliefs about their self-image. This is where Dr. Maltz discovered the great potential for change in directing activity at your self-image. He discovered that true happiness and true satisfaction in life comes from an adequate and realistic self-image that you, yourself, can live with. The secret, Maltz tells us, is this: to really live, that is, to find life reasonably satisfying, you must have an adequate and realistic self-image that you can live with. You must find yourself acceptable to you. Maltz sees the subconscious as a mechanism that the mind controls. He calls this our creative mechanism. It'll function based on the goals that it's given. And these goals are based on your self-image. The self-image dictates the limits of your accomplishments, what you believe you can do. The creative mechanism uses past memories as structure for solving your current problems. Now, within us all is also a success mechanism. This is the structure and function designed for any activity which is intimately tied in to your living or makes for a fuller life. There are many ways that your brain and your nervous system operate as a machine. Now, although Maltz is clear again in that you are not a machine, he makes numerous analyses that show how the brain and nervous system are machine-like in their operation. He calls these servo mechanisms. The field of psycho-cybernetics seeks to understand how the brain works in these machine-mind terms. A great analogy would be to think of a missile. One that has a target, locks in on its target, and it's flying in the air, and it's constantly going in different directions, the wrong directions, but it's using those errors that it's constantly making to find its target because it knows what its target is. It locks into its target. And so it doesn't necessarily know which path it's going to take to get its target because the target is constantly moving, it's changing direction, and it's getting away. But the missile knows where it needs to go. And that's a machine. However, that's also a great template to apply within our own lives to figure out what our outcome is going to be, figure out what our ideal targets are, and then constantly correct course as we figure out how to get there, how to achieve that, how to get our goals. Now, in addition to your brain's amazing capabilities, there is support to the concept that your brain can access subconscious knowledge outside of its own experiences. This access to universal knowledge, Maltz says, is acquired through analysis, contemplation, and striving for answers. Science, he says, has now confirmed what philosophers, mystics, and other intuitive people have long declared, that every human being has been literally engineered for success by his or her creator. Every human being has access to a power greater than himself. Now, the first practical applications involve internalizing the following 5 concepts, according to Maltz. The first concept you want to internalize and practice is this: that your success mechanism must have a goal or a target that you believe already exists. It can exist in actuality or it can exist in potential in the future. Number 2 is that your mechanism focuses on the end, not the means. In other words, when you supply the goal, your mechanism finds a way, like the missile example that we gave just a moment ago. And number 3 is that making mistakes helps to direct you towards your goal. It provides an autocorrect that helps you redirect towards your goal until you meet it. And number 4, you gain skill by redirecting your errors until you're heading in the right direction. Then you got to just forget the past, forget about the errors, and focus on the final successful choice that led you in the right direction. And number 5 is to trust in the process without worrying about it or trying to adjust it. You've got to let it work rather than make it work. Your success comes as you act, as you take action, and the proof of your success then follows. So you can't look for success before you look to take actions. Big idea number 3, the importance of imagination. Quote, "For imagination sets the goal picture, which our automatic mechanism works on. We act or fail to act, not because of will, as is so commonly believed, but because of imagination." Unquote. Your thoughts and your actions are based on what you imagine is truth. Hypnosis is an excellent example of this in action. Your nervous system reacts appropriately to what you think or imagine to be true. Now, you often react automatically to your environment. Seeing a bear will make you feel fear and run away. It's not something you need to think about first. You automatically respond to the environment based on what your nervous system tells you, regardless of whether this information is true or not. It is what you believe to be true that causes the reaction. Numerous studies have shown that mental practice improves actual performance. The key here is to practice the correct mental image of the actual action, right? To think about yourself doing it, right? To picture yourself taking the steps along the way required to reach your ideal outcome. You want to remember that your physical brain and body functions as a machine, which you yourself operate. You are the operator. When you practice something in your mind, you're establishing the goal to aim for. And this activity is far more successful than employing just pure willpower or trying harder, trying to push yourself. Instead, you're actually able to relax, picture the process, and enjoy the journey. And doing that over and over and over and over and over again helps you meet your goals. Now, you can also use this method to develop an excellent self-image for yourself, which is key, as we discussed earlier. Seeing yourself differently will lead to acting differently and improving yourself. Some have called this self-image the strongest force within you. Although this is only achieved when you create an honest picture of yourself, not an arrogant or egotistic one. Many people underrate themselves. So seek the best in yourself and aim high. Now, it's important to know that you've already built up a self-image of yourself based on past experiences. Now, you are to use the same method to build an adequate self-image that you previously used to build an inadequate one. Use 30 minutes a day for yourself. Give yourself 30 minutes a day to relax, to close your eyes, and imagine that you are watching a movie of you. Get detailed with it. This is your mental practice for life. View positive interactions. View positive opportunities as if they've already been completed and done, and the deal is done, for instance. The goal has been met. People's responses were positive. Your dreams are coming true. Imagine yourself taking the steps required to achieve them, and then imagine yourself on top of the hill as if you already had. Don't worry if you don't believe it yet. That will come. Just keep on doing it. Think about how each of your senses will experience what you're imagining. Imagine positive feelings that you will experience. And remember that it may take you at least or a minimum of 21 days of practicing this before you notice changes. And by the way, since Dr. Maltz originally wrote this book, many studies have taken place to measure how long does it really take for a habit to form. And as it turns out, a study that was conducted within the last decade tells us that the average time to form a habit is actually 66 days, not 21 days. It can be a minimum. It can take at least 21 days for some people, but for some people it might take 66 days or longer. The minimum amount was 21 days, and the maximum amount for some people in this study that I'm referring to was actually 300 some odd days. So it could be anything between those two spectrums there, those two ends of the spectrum. But again, the average is about 66 days. Now, you might be one of the lucky few who can form a new habit and make it automatic and easy for yourself. For some others, don't give up if it takes you longer. Don't give up if it takes you longer, because for most people, it does take a couple of months. So just keep that in mind. Now, again, remember that and keep on practicing before you notice these changes. If it takes you a little bit longer, that's okay. Just keep on doing it. Practice will lead to new automatic responses based on the self-image that you're developing. Now, when you successfully are hypnotized, right, it's because you believe what the hypnotist is saying. Now, in this sense, you've been hypnotized throughout your entire life. You believe what someone has said to you or about you, and this belief has led to certain actions. Perhaps you've been told that you're dumb. Perhaps you've been told you're ugly or bad at math. You've accepted these statements and then felt obligated to act them out in order to, quote unquote, be yourself. Now, the reverse of being hypnotized into negative beliefs is also possible. You can reverse this and make it positive for yourself. You can hypnotize yourself in a positive way. People have been hypnotized and behaved far beyond what their conscious restrictions would allow them to. And in a sense, they were dehypnotized so that they could achieve what they were truly capable of, reach their highest potential. As Maltz tells us, within you right now is the power to do things that you never dreamed possible. Inferiority? That's something that comes when we measure ourselves against someone else's measuring stick, against someone else's normal rather than our own. We believe that we should be what they are and determine that we are unworthy. This just isn't true. It's garbage. We have allowed ourselves to be hypnotized by the entirely erroneous idea that, quote unquote, I should be like so-and-so. This is the wrong way of thinking. This leads to more striving, more inferiority, and a miserable life. The solution lies in knowing that you are uniquely you. You can never be replicated, and you will never be someone else. You're not supposed to be. Your uniqueness is valuable, and it's only yours to have. So how do you undo these types of negative beliefs about yourself if you're holding on to them? In order to undo a negative belief or behavior, the first step is to get yourself to relax, to accept a little calm in your life. This leads to Dr. Maltz's second practice exercise in the book, and that is using your imagination to relax. Here's what you want to do. Get comfortable and consciously relax each muscle group in your body. Don't let this be work for yourself. Just do what you can easily do. Move through mental images of relaxation. Practice going through all of these mental images over and over and over again in your head. And eventually you'll develop stronger connections between mental images and how you feel physically. And you'll become better at relaxation. Let's continue this forward in the next big idea. Big idea number 4, using rational thinking and relaxation. Quote, scientific experiments have shown that it is absolutely impossible to feel fear, anger, anxiety, or negative emotions of any kind while the muscles of the body are kept perfectly relaxed. Unquote. Rational thinking works for changing beliefs and for changing behaviors. You do not have to unbury every negative unconscious thought in order to create change for yourself. Focusing on a mistake or guilty feelings can make the mistake the actual goal. Instead, remember that negative experiences helped you orient towards your goals, and then can be forgotten as you practice traveling in the right direction towards your goals. Again, this is very similar to the missile example that we gave earlier. It's been theorized that those who are successfully hypnotized to do amazing things have simply had negative memories purged so that they could achieve their greatness. It follows that you too can consciously purge negative memories and unlock your own innate success. When you begin to feel negative, look for the cause and dismiss this cause as absolutely absurd, nonsense. Determine that the irrational will not control you. You will not be controlled by the irrational. And repeat this practice whenever negative thoughts and memories start to surface. Look for new, rational, positive beliefs that will move you forward. Things that you can use, beliefs and thoughts that will actually benefit you, that also resonate with you to help you replace those irrational, negative ones. Identify a belief about not being able to do something. Try this exercise right now. Identify a belief about not being able to do something and evaluate it using the following questions. Number 1, is there any rational reason for such a belief? That's the first question you want to ask yourself and then answer, either in a journal or perhaps in your smartphone in one of your note-taking apps. The second question you want to ask yourself is, could it be that I'm mistaken in this belief? Could it be that I am mistaken in this belief? Number 3 is, would I come to the same conclusion about some other person in a similar situation? Would I come to the same conclusion about some other person in a similar situation? And then the fourth and final question you want to ask yourself and then answer is this. Why should I continue to act and feel as if this were true if there is no good reason to believe it? Why should I continue to act and feel as if this were true if there is no good reason to believe it? Ask yourself that question, answer it. Ask yourself all 4 of these questions and answer them. And really evaluate your responses as well. Get mad and angry about the beliefs that have interfered with your success and happiness in life. Allow this anger to spur you on towards new beliefs and great success. Rational thoughts must be joined by feelings and desires. Rational thoughts must be joined by feelings and desires. Long for who you want to be and what you want to have, what you want to experience. Get excited about these desires. This process is exactly like worrying, right? Thinking about what you want is exactly like thinking about what you're afraid of or anxious about or apprehensive about or don't want. It's exactly like worrying, except that now you're dwelling on something positive and you're dwelling on desirable things instead of negative things. As you change your goal picture and engage your positive emotions, the possibilities will become more and more real for you. As Maltz tells us, it is the job of conscious, rational thought to decide what you want and select the goals you wish to achieve and concentrate upon these rather than upon what you do not want. It is the job of conscious rational thought to decide what you want, select the goals you wish to achieve, and concentrate upon these rather than upon what you do not want. So focus on the current task. Do one thing at a time. Do everything you can under the best of assumptions, and then just let the results happen for you. They will happen. There's a limit also, by the way, to rational thought. If you focus on achieving results with rational thought, you begin to develop anxiety and feelings of stress. Instead, once you've determined your goals and you're taking action towards them, let go of making success happen, forcing it to happen. You can see how that works when examining the lives of very creative people, for instance. Their creative breakthroughs come from spontaneity when their rational mind has just relaxed, when it's chilled out. They have a goal, a question, or a need for a solution that they have consciously examined. But once they have done what they can, they just let go and inspiration comes. We are all creative, and too much conscious effort inhibits and, as Maxwell puts it, jams the automatic creative mechanism within us. Releasing this inhibition of your creative mechanism can lead to creativity, more spontaneity, and truly being yourself. Take the time to research, prepare, and make good decisions. And then, once the wheels are in motion, just relax. You've done what you can. So work hard, do everything you need to do in order to prepare, do all the research, figure out everything it's going to take for you to achieve your goals, and then put those actions into motion and relax. You'll get there eventually, but it won't happen if you keep forcing the success to happen exactly when it's supposed to happen, exactly how it's supposed to happen, exactly how you envisioned it. You've done what you can. Give your attention now to this moment that you're in and do it to the best of your ability. Live in today without worrying about the future or mulling over the past. Your attention to this moment allows your creative mechanism to respond at its best. Now, allow your senses to absorb the experiences of this moment. Avoid multitasking also, as this just takes the focus away from the moment. Do one thing at a time. Even on the busiest day, the crowded hours, as Maltz puts it, come to us one moment at a time. Taking this approach relieves us from worry, relieves us from stress, and relieves us from feeling overwhelmed. Let problems go at the end of the day. Sleep on it. Allow your creative mechanism time to work without your conscious getting in the way. Dreams often lead to amazing breakthroughs. Write down what you need to do the next day, make a plan, or identify your problem. Then, go to sleep. Relax. Recharge. Have a pen and paper ready beside your bedside to record any morning insights or ideas that you get when you wake up. Use your relaxing practice also, by the way, to remember how to achieve a feeling of relaxation in the middle of your day when things might get hectic. Just take a moment. Recall the details and sensations of your relaxation practice that we went over earlier. And you'll notice that this reduces fatigue in you and it increases coping skills and your sharpness, mental acuity, and creativity. Big idea number 5. Making happy habits and having a successful view. Quote, happiness is not something that is earned or deserved. Happiness is not a moral issue, any more than the circulation of the blood is a moral issue. Happiness is simply a state of mind in which our thinking is pleasant a good share of the time. If you wait until you deserve to think pleasant thoughts, you are likely to think unpleasant thoughts concerning your own unworthiness. Unquote. Happiness is not selfish or wrong or something to be earned. Being happy just leads to unselfishness. It leads to creativity. It leads to helpfulness. Naturally, it makes you want to contribute, makes you want to spread that happiness. Unhappiness, though, leads to terrible, even criminal behavior. Happiness is learned behavior. It's learned thoughts. It must be practiced in the present moment, and it cannot be made contingent upon solving some external problem that you might have. Learning to be happy means being free from the habit of responding negatively to the external things around us. Part of being happy involves separating facts from opinions. Separating facts from opinions. Losing your savings in the stock market, that's a fact. Being embarrassed and destroyed by it is an opinion, an unhelpful opinion that you yourself choose to accept. Many things that are seen as impossible are actually just opinions. They're not facts. The key here is to recognize when to separate one from the other. Working towards goals often leads to feeling happy. It's your thoughts about events that lead to your feelings. If bad things happen, see them as challenges. Then get yourself a goal and start working towards it. As Maltz tells us, form the habit of reacting aggressively and positively toward threats and problems. Form the habit of keeping goal-oriented all the time, regardless of what happens. Use your imagination to picture yourself handling challenges in positive, smart, intelligent ways. Happiness is something you do and something you choose. Consciously choose to think pleasant thoughts. Perform surgery on your negative thoughts. Cut them out and replace them with beautiful ones. Changing your self-image will impact your habits, and changing your habits will impact your self-image. Again, changing your self-image will impact your habits, and changing your habits will impact your self-image. It's a positive cycle of dual success and excellence. When we consciously and deliberately develop new and better habits, our self-image tends to outgrow the old habits and grow into the new pattern. Most of your actions, most of your feelings, most of your responses are habits. That means they can be changed, just as they were formed. The following practice exercise starts at your feet. Now put your shoes on opposite to usual and tie them differently. Use this as a reminder for change. It'll feel weird at first, right? Saying that I am beginning the day in a new and better way. Think that to yourself. Say that to yourself as you do this weird feeling, opposite exercise where you put your shoes on opposite to usual by tying them differently, right? Tie them backwards, right? Use the opposite hand that you usually use to tie the loops, right? Put on the other shoe first. If you usually put your right shoe on and then your left, put your left one on, then your right. In your day, choose to be cheerful, choose to be more friendly, and choose to be less critical, more tolerant, focused on success, separating opinions and facts, smiling, reacting calmly, practicing these habits until they become automatic. And again, that simple exercise that we just described, that's to be used as a reminder. There's no necessarily profound thing that happens when you tie your shoes backwards and do them differently. It's just a reminder because usually we do this at the beginning of our day. So use that exercise as a reminder for yourself to say, hey, I'm beginning my day in a new and better way. And today I'm going to choose to be cheerful. I'm going to choose to be friendly. I'm going to choose to smile at people that maybe I don't know and welcome more people. I'm going to choose to be less critical of myself and others. I'm going to choose to be more tolerant. I'm going to choose to focus on success. I'm going to choose to separate opinions from facts. I'm going to choose to react calmly when everybody else is reacting like it's a crisis in their lives. You are going to choose to react with calm focus on success. In order to be successful, you need to be clear about what success looks like. There's a great acronym that Maltz recommends in the book, using these letters in the word success. It begins like this. The S is for sense of direction. The U is for understanding. The C is for courage. The second C is for charity. Next is esteem for E. And then finally, self-confidence and self-acceptance. That acronym spells out success, sense of direction, understanding, courage, charity, esteem, self-confidence, and self-acceptance. Now, the sense of direction part, the first one, is about maintaining your own personal focus and goals rather than trying to go where other people think you should go. It's also about always having a goal that you're working for, constantly working towards something that you want in life, working towards a goal, progressing and growing. Next is understanding. Understanding comes when you can separate fact from opinion. As we discussed, this often means taking a step back and seeing a situation or memory or feeling for what it really is, rather than from a biased viewpoint. Admit your mistakes, admit your errors, but don't cry over them. Correct them and go forward. Next is about having courage. Having courage to act on your goals and beliefs can make them reality. You can practice courage by taking small steps every day in little things, like striking up a random friendly conversation with a stranger. Little things build up, small steps daily. Have the courage to act on your goals, to act on your beliefs. Even if it takes something small for you to get the ball rolling, get that ball rolling. Do one small thing, make one small call, start an email, hit record, do something, even if it's small and tiny, because that will help you get the ball rolling. And courage builds on courage. Next is about charity. Charity can start with treating other people with more kindness. This leads to treating yourself with more kindness. Charity recognizes that people are valuable and important. Appreciate others, care about others, treat them with care. Next is about esteem. Esteem involves having a healthy, good, positive mental picture of yourself and treating the other people around you with appreciation. Next is about self-confidence. Self-confidence grows as successful experiences increase. You can develop this by remembering past successes and forgetting about past failures. Remembering your past successes, forgetting about your errors. And finally, self-acceptance, the final piece of this acronym here for success. Self-acceptance is about accepting yourself right here, right now for who you are. And remembering that creating a better self-image does not create new abilities and talents and powers. It releases them. It utilizes them. Creating a better self-image does not create new abilities, doesn't create new talents, doesn't create new powers. It releases and utilizes the ones you've already got. It helps you use the power you already have. So accept yourself. And you will become more of a success as you utilize every piece, every letter in this success acronym. Big idea number 7. Get an emotional facelift and unlock your real personality. Someone with a good self-image will not easily become emotionally damaged. The same for someone with a self-reliant attitude. Assume responsibility for your own life and emotional needs. It's your response to experiences that can leave emotional scars on you. So practice relaxation and focusing on peaceful images. This will help prevent these scars. In order to lose emotional scars, they've got to also be removed. So forgiveness, when it is real and when it is genuine and complete and forgotten, is the scalpel, Maltz tells us, which can remove the pus from old emotional wounds, heal them, and eliminate scar tissue. This means forgiving and forgetting. Forgiveness happens when you recognize that the debt, the purpose for the unforgiveness, is invalid. Condemnation and hatred should not have been given any place in your life. We ourselves err when we hate a person because of his mistakes, or when we condemn him or classify him as a certain type of person, confusing his person with his behavior, Maltz tells us. You must also forgive yourself. You've made mistakes, but hating yourself for them is futile. So remember, you make mistakes, but mistakes do not make you anything. You may have failed at something, but you are not a failure. Carrying judgment and living with scars happens when you live in the past. Instead, relax. Practice forgiveness on others and yourself. Have flexible but strong skin. Be creative. Let yourself be a little vulnerable as well. Unlocking your real personality is all about showing outwardly your unique and creative self. When people are inhibited, they keep their real personality locked up. Often, this is because they are over-experiencing negative feedback. Instead of using negative feedback to correct course, they overreact or cease taking any action at all. It can also occur when people are excessively careful, right? Very cautious. A solution here is to practice relaxation. This enables you to be more free. It enables you to be less tense, and it enables you to be less inhibited. Self-consciousness can also lead to inhibition. Being self-conscious is really just about being too conscious of other people. You monitor everything you do and everything you say because you're concerned with how others might see you. You can begin to deal with this self-consciousness by, again, relaxing. Remember, a time and place in your own life. Try to think back when you were with people who made you feel super comfortable, very supported, and constantly recreate this feeling when you're with other people and you feel self-conscious. And you'll notice that your self-consciousness actually begins to fade. Practice disinhibition, being less careful, less concerned, and less conscientious. Big idea number 8, self-tranquilizing. Often, your responses to stimuli are conditioned, things you've learned to do and now do automatically. An example of this is picking up your phone whenever you hear a notification. You can undo this condition. It's possible. It's possible to ignore your phone when you get a text message or when it starts to ring. If you can't ignore the stimulus, start by delaying your response to it. As you learn to not respond, you're actually practicing relaxation. This state of relaxation encourages positive feelings in you. It gives you power. It's a natural form of a quote-unquote tranquilizer, to use a unique word that the author utilized in his book, to mean basically that it calms you down. It helps you relax. It releases anxiety. So remember that the relaxation exercise at the beginning of the book. Protect yourself from disturbing stimuli by maintaining this relaxed attitude. Mentally create a quiet room in your mind, a place of total relaxation in your head, mentally. Go to this mental place to rest, have a break from stimulus, and to renew yourself and recharge when things get hectic throughout the day. Practice going to this room before you go to sleep and before tackling big challenges. No matter where you are, you can go to this room because it's inside of your head. you'll begin to carry this calmness to other parts of your life as well, with positive benefits. When things get crazy at the office, you'll be able to go into your quiet room, get a little bit of relaxation before going back and responding or reacting in a negative way. You can respond and react in a positive one. You can go to this room in the middle of an argument to get a little bit of relaxation, to get some calm, to create a short period of time, even if just for a few seconds, before reacting like an animal or responding like a conscious, intelligent individual. Again, you'll be able to carry this calmness if you do this to every area of your life. And another calming practice recommended by Maltz is to refuse to respond to all of the negative possibilities that you might think of during the day. We all have thoughts. We're constantly thinking. Many of us are rerunning old thoughts in our heads as we go about our day. And if those thoughts are negative, which for many people they are, especially a vast majority of thoughts, for many people, for a vast majority of individuals, is negative. And you can use this calming practice to go into your calm room, your quiet room in your mind, to just eliminate those negative possibilities that you think about all day long, those future negative events that haven't even occurred yet, that probably won't ever occur, can be purged from your mind by just going in and telling yourself, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be silent for a moment. I'm going to go into my quiet room. Just relax. Instead, focus on your goals rather than thinking about the negative stuff. Focus on what you want, what it's going to take for you to get there. Dismiss what ifs as unreasonable. Dismiss them as not worthy of a response in the first place. Big idea number 9, finding the good in crisis and feelings. Quote, a crisis is a situation which can either make you or break you. If you react properly to the situation, a crisis can give you strength, power, wisdom you do not ordinarily possess. Unquote. To learn to turn a crisis into an opportunity, you first need to practice reacting to challenges without the pressure of a crisis situation. This is similar to practicing fire drills before a fire. You learn the actions without stress, so you can take those same actions when the pressure is on. You also carry over an attitude of calmness and competence when you do this. Learn to react to crisis with an active rather than passive response. Finally, evaluate crisis situations in your own life so you can identify the true ones from the ones that are not true crises. When you face a crisis in life, be confident, be assertive. This means maintaining an aggressive, goal-directed attitude towards them rather than a defensive, evasive, negative one. No matter what happens, Maltz tells us, I can handle it or I can see it through. That's what you want to tell yourself rather than, I hope nothing bad happens. There are times in life when your greatest challenge may be making a goal that you can get excited about. Again, there are times when your greatest challenges might be to actually set up that goal for yourself and get excited about it. Since your brain can't tell the difference between real and vividly imagined experiences, your brain will coordinate negative feelings if you're focusing on the failures that potentially might come of goal setting. So don't do that. Bring to mind feelings of success by focusing on positive things. These feelings lead to successful actions. They lead to successful outcomes. You can also take time to recall successes in your past. The imprinting in the brain is strong for these, and it becomes stronger with recall. The winning feeling, described by Maltz in his book, accompanying these past successes, will actually carry over into your current goal-seeking activity. So the important thing here is, again, forget about the errors, forget about the mistakes, forget about the failures. They helped you course correct along the way, but drop the emotional feelings associated with them and pick up the successes. Think about the successes in your past and use those to fuel more successes for yourself in the future. If you haven't experienced a great deal of success, begin with small measures that you are successful at already and build on them, both with repeats of the success and growing memories. Gradually increase the challenges and successes as if you were weight training. Right? Put on a little bit more weight every time you go into the gym. Same thing with recalling your past successes and purging yourself of the challenges, dropping the negatives, forgetting about them, and thinking more about your successes. And the more you do this, of course, the more actions you'll take to create more success, and the more you'll be able to think about those successes, and the more actions those thoughts will spur you on towards taking. So you'll become accustomed to this success eventually in this process of thinking, this cycle of thought. Negative feelings, fear, anxiety, lack of self-confidence, are indicative only of attitudes of mind within you, not of external facts which are rigged against you. They mean only that you are underestimating your own abilities and overestimating and exaggerating the nature of the difficulty that's before you, and that you're reactivating memories of past failures rather than memories of past successes. You can counteract these feelings by directly confronting them, or by substituting them, replacing them with positive feelings. If you tend to be a worrier, your solution is to practice immediately substituting pleasant, wholesome mental images for unpleasant, worry-related images. You replace the habit of worry with a habit of wholesome, positive thinking by doing it over and over and over again. You can change your thinking from negative to positive, no matter who you are, where you're at. It takes a great deal of practice to create this new habit, but it is possible. Using vivid mental images in your replacements will increase your success. Use positive, vivid mental images of success and replace them, and use those images. Use your time to think about those images rather than thinking about all the negative potential situations that can occur as you pursue your goals. Instead of focusing on willpower, focus on positive images that generate great feelings. Big idea number 10. Better days, better life. Quote, I believe that there is one life, one ultimate source, but that this one life has many channels of expression and manifests itself in many forms. If we are to get more living out of life, we should not limit the channels through which life may come to us. We must accept it, whether it comes in the form of science, religion, psychology, or whatnot. Unquote. Living with a failure mechanism in place can slow healing in every respect and lead to overall poor health. Resentment and hatred are also bad for your health. Dr. Maltz found that his patients that recovered faster were actually optimistic, positive thinkers who had a reason to get better. They had some hope in the future. They had some goal or something good in their future. Mental attitudes can influence the body's healing mechanisms in every way. This is even obvious with the success of placebo treatments. The placebos, things that don't even actually have any real substance to them whatsoever, except for that in the mind. People who believe they are receiving healing medication actually improve. What you believe works in your life will very often work in your life. What you believe works will very often work for you. Now, of course, not 100% of the time, but if you can change your way of approaching your thoughts and begin to believe in what you want, you'll notice a dramatic change, a massive change. Even your views of aging will impact how you age. What do you think about when you think about old age? Do you think about, oh gosh, I'm going to become decrepit, I'm going to become slow? Or do you think, wow, how experienced will I become? How much more will I know? How much more will I be able to share with people and contribute and impact other people's lives once I become older? So there are 7 needs that, when fulfilled, lead to a better life. These needs are as follows. These needs are for love, security, creative expression, recognition, new experiences, self-esteem, and the need for more life. The need to look forward to tomorrow and to the future with gladness and anticipation. In other words, hope. Again, we all have the same needs to live a fulfilling, better life. Love, security, creative expression, recognition, new experiences, self-esteem, and hope, or more life, as Maltz calls it. This desire for more life leads to more life. I believe that we establish this need by looking forward to the future with joy and anticipation, when we expect to enjoy tomorrow, and above all, when we have something important to us to do and somewhere to go. Those are Maltz's words. I believe that we establish this need for more life by looking forward to the future. By looking forward to the future with joy and anticipation, when we expect to enjoy tomorrow, and above all, when we have something important to us to do and somewhere important to go. Hope. Creativity also leads to a longer life, by the way. Many creative people produce their greatest works after 80. It may also explain why some men die soon after they actually retire. They no longer have a creative, productive outlet. Closing notes. The key takeaway from this book is this. Your life is like a machine that you can develop, control, and change through your thoughts and beliefs. Your life is like a machine. You can develop it, you can control it, you can mold it, it's pliable, and you can do that with your thoughts and your beliefs. Some actionable insights to help you make this happen. Develop a healthy self-image based on facts about yourself. Work with a success mechanism, believing and thinking about great possibilities that you can achieve in the future. Have hope. Use the power of your imagination to learn complete relaxation, successful imagery, and mental practice of future physical actions. Develop happy habits. Practice self-hypnosis. Turn crisis into opportunity. Do the exercises that we discussed earlier in this audiobook summary. Embrace opportunities in life to live a long, happy, and healthy life. It's suggested that you go back through this audiobook summary, listen to it again if necessary, and write down the exercises. Actually do the exercises. Actually try out some of these suggestions and these big ideas. And we think that you'll really, genuinely be able to create massive changes and massive success that'll lead to a massively fulfilling life.